Hello Libra. Thank you very much for tuning into your general read. For the main part of the read, I'm using Witch's Tarot by Ellen Dugan. For the support of Oracle cards, Energy Oracle cards by Sandra Ann Taylor. What's in my box? Maybe. Alright. Already shuffled. Okay. Okay. Change, alright, so change, something is changing, I get that, but it's very, it's like it's, I don't want to say it's balanced, but I feel like it's going into balance. It doesn't start off completely out of balance, but I feel like it's like crisped up, the edges are crisped up a little bit, like things are like put in line a little bit better than they were. The Eight of Pentacles is where you're coming in. The situation, I feel like you like this situation. It's very good, but you're kind of like, you know what, we can make this a little better. Let's make this a little better. And you got the Eight of Cups in the environment. Like, I'm getting people are just seeming to not, I feel like they're not paying attention to what you're doing. And I feel like the way you're looking at this is like, that's okay. Because I think we can do things better, and if I get people just to step away for a minute, I can look at the situation for what it is and really evaluate what's happening here. If they're not paying attention to me, I'm okay with that because I can really see what's actually happening here, and maybe I can manipulate it a little bit and change it a little bit so things can go a little bit more fairly. It's not bad to start with. It just feels like you're looking at it like, you know what, this could go a little better. This could be balancing a little bit better than it is. And I feel like you're investigating. Like, I feel that Eight of Pentacles, like something you like, you're just kind of taking a deeper look at, a little closer look at. You're very invested in the situation. But that Eight of Cups makes me feel like people aren't really paying attention. They're just kind of walking away from you. Not in a bad way, but they're letting you be. They're not really paying attention to what you're doing. Now, as we keep going forward, I'm getting like the Nine of Pentacles here for you. Things are going well. Everybody seems quite happy is from what I'm getting. I'm not saying it's like the Disney World, but, you know, as good as you expect it, it's continuing on a good level. Nothing seems to be really sticking out as a bad situation in this era, in this arena. So what I'm getting here is this keeps going forward for a while in a good way. And you're just kind of looking closer. I feel you're more researching at this point still. Just kind of like, you know, just keeping it in mind. This seems a little like this. This could go a little better there. This is how this is working out. That's how that's working out. This is how that balances over there. That balances over here. You seem to be researching and just paying attention and just getting really close to like how things are really working, like the nitty-gritty of how things are really working. And then something comes forward. You got the wheel turning on your side, and you got somebody coming forward creating a change. Someone's creating a change. Now, when somebody actively comes forward and does this, you see it for the wheel turning. And I'm getting, as the wheel is turning, you're communicating with these people. All right, this makes sense. I see where this is going. I know things have to change. You know, I'm not completely oblivious to that. But I feel like you're trying to help keep things balanced. I know Libra's a big thing with balance, but why are we saying it? Like, I feel like I'm saying it 50 times in this reading already. Balance, balance, balance. Like, balance is all over the place here. It's just kind of like you're trying to keep a foothold in the situation. I don't see you, like, strong-arming the situation, but I feel like you keep conversations going. Like, don't forget about this. Don't forget that balance is there. Don't forget this balance is here. Balance is just, like, all over the place. It's like balance on overdrive. Seriously. Like, we're not letting this go. I don't want this to go out of balance. I'm very happy with the way it is. I could balance better, but let's not at least lose what we have. You're communicating quite well about it, too, is what I'm getting. Now, what I'm getting here is this keeps going forward. You got the thinking woman with the envy. There are people here, or situations, or people, who want more. And the way you're seeing things balance out, they're not agreeing. They believe they deserve more. But it's kind of like having four quarters. having 4 quarters, they believe they should have 3 of those quarters. The effort they're putting in, they should have 3 of those quarters. And you're kind of like, well, there's 4 people. We all deserve to have a piece of the pie. We're all doing our jobs the way we need to. So since there's only 4 quarters to go around, everybody should get a quarter. And they're saying, but what I'm doing, I deserve 3 quarters for what I'm doing. But I feel like you could come back and say, yeah, but for what I'm doing, yeah, I should be paid 3 quarters too. So should that person, so should the other person. But there's not 3 quarters for everybody. We don't have $2 worth here. No, I'm doing that wrong. Would that would not be $2, that'd be like $3? Whatever. The math isn't working right now. It's definitely more than $2 though. But even though you're saying we don't have that much, you don't have that much of a resource right now, and we're all putting in the effort, we all deserve something, so we should divide it out equally. We each should get a quarter, even though we're each of us worth more than a quarter. You can't take all that and the rest of us lack. That's not fair. We all have to divide it out fairly. So you're going through this. There's more communication coming from you, and you're doing the best you can to prove your point. And I feel like you're making a good point. I feel like you're even acknowledging this person, saying, yeah, you do 3 quarters worth of effort, but so don't the rest of us. Or at least that person, maybe they do 2 quarters worth, and this person, they do what they need to do, but, none of us should be paid less than a quarter. So we have to divide this out fairly. So you win this out. You get the you get the King of Cups. Don't get caught up in the gender. It doesn't matter. But you're very on point, analytically, emotionally satisfying people. You're addressing things. You are acknowledging people's concerns, and you are telling them, I agree with you. You are worth those 3 quarters. But you know what? The rest of us don't deserve to lack because of that. And there's only so much here. So you're addressing things, and you're explaining things out. You're going through it. Makes sense. It's a very interesting Libra connection. I like how that's coming through. That does make sense to me. And I'm saying that because I connect to Aries. My moon is Aries, so I usually go the Aries way. But that makes complete sense to me where you're coming from, if that is sitting with you. The 3 of Wands is here in the environment. I feel people letting it go. You've made your point. You have made your point. They do agree. And I feel like I feel like it makes sense. Whoever this is saying, I'm worth 3 quarters. And you're like, yes. And so are some of the rest of us. But there's only 4 quarters. And you make your point, and I feel like they're backing down because they're like, yeah, you're not. Because you're not saying they're worth less than they want to be. You know what I mean? But you are acknowledging, like, there's only so much to go around. And you're not the only one here worth more. It's just what we have available. They're backing down. They're moving on from it. The 3 of Wands is telling me they're moving on from it. You made a good point. And you're not saying they're worth any less than they're saying they're worth. You're agreeing they are worth that. It's just there's no resources to support that right now. Now, as this continues forward, I feel people, they're not completely dissatisfied, but that one piece, like, for example, somebody believing they deserve more, and they're not the only person that deserves more here. It's just not there. And I feel like it's bothering people. It's bothering people, but there's nowhere to argue about it. It's unfortunate that the situation can't provide for more at this point. And I feel people are bothered by it, but they don't have really a place to argue it. And I'm seeing it just kind of, it's reflected in the environment. Like, people are getting along, but they're starting to question, like, am I giving too much effort to this job or this situation? Am I giving too much effort to this situation? Because what I put in, I'm definitely not getting out. And they're realizing they can't really argue to get more because it's not fair that somebody else gets shortchanged. So they're not even trying to do that because you made a great point. They feel like they can't argue against it. You made a great point. But just as forewarning, like, whoever this was that you made your point with that let it go, it's definitely one of those things where at some point they're going to have to make a change. Because it's not sitting well with them. Even though you were right and they can't argue against that, they may actually decide to move on to something else because the situation, I feel like they're blaming the situation instead of people at this point. which might be that they might actually move on from this situation because they're feeling trapped in it. They're like, this maybe isn't going to work out for me because I really feel like I deserve more, but the situation can't provide that. And they're not looking to take advantage of someone else. They don't think somebody else should have to suffer for them to get ahead. That's not what they're about. But if the situation can't sustain the way they feel like the situation should, they may actually end up leaving at some point, just to be aware of that. Because I see here with you, as things go forward, you're in the same boat. You're like, yeah, I feel like I deserve more too, but this is what the situation allows. So you're accepting it because you don't feel like you're being shortchanged. You're just in there with everybody else. But they're giving you this heads up, like, be aware, just in case it matters for the situation. This other person is still unhappy and may leave the situation because of it at some point. As long as you're aware of that, because I feel you getting along with everybody, as long as you're aware of that, you can prepare for that. But factor that into your balancing. Because what I'm getting is that will throw things off down the road when this person leaves, if they decide to. Because I'm getting, like, with the Three of Wands especially, they might be considering that anyway the whole time. I don't see them leaving right away. Some of them might, but they're saying that's definitely going to factor this harmony that you have after the situation. Because while all the pieces are in place, the harmony is there. But if one of them leaves, you may have to rebalance. Just keep that in mind. Have the forethought to know, I got to plan ahead for this. I think we're good. All right. I'm going to wrap that up there. I hope that helps. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. Thank you.